Hi, friends. So I'm just getting back from work and I didn't have a huge amount to eat, so I'm really hungry. And I'm about to sit down and eat these bananas here. And that made me think of something. So it honestly, this is something that used to really surprise me, or even I thought it was a bit weird, I guess. But I've seen a lot of different vegan people eat the monomeal, Monomeal, right? And it, from the outside, for non-vegans or especially vegans that don't eat a lot of, or even for vegans if they don't eat like a lot of fruit or a lot of carbohydrates, then the monomeal might seem kind of strange. But the principle is very simple. It's to eat a meal that's just one thing. And I find myself doing it quite often now. It's so easy to digest. I guess because the body has to secrete different things to digest different materials, or something like that. Or there's something about the morning meal that just makes it super, super easy on digestion. And yeah, it just really works for the lifestyle, honestly. So, for instance, I've got my piles of fruit here. So I'm about to sit down and eat some of these bananas. And I'll probably eat like 6 to 10 of them or something. And I've mentioned this before, but there's about 100 calories in each banana. So, 600 to 1,000 calories, pretty solid meal for me. If I was going to sit down and eat these 4 mangoes, I'd probably just eat just the mangoes. But bananas and mangoes mix really nicely too. And this brings up the topic of food combining, which I will say something just very briefly. I'll mention the very most important basic aspect of in a minute. But I've got like these oranges, for instance. If I was to sit down and have like 3 as a snack, or maybe 9 or 10 of them as a meal, that would be the mono meal. Or these peaches, of course. These peaches were on sale. It was really, peaches are often pretty expensive, and these are still ripening up as best they can. But they're starting to smell very peachy, very nice, very red peaches. But I think they're beautiful. Anyway, so that would, all of these fruits could be a mono meal. But if you were just going to eat just peaches or just oranges, just bananas, that would be the mono meal. Or just watermelon. I've got some more watermelons back there. They were like $3.50. So yeah, I used to think this was strange. I'd see people just eating one thing. It seemed like it would be really boring or not satisfying, or it just seems excessive on some level. I got over the fact that it seemed excessive in terms of the amount of fruit you're eating pretty quickly, because once you go vegan, get rid of all of those really dense food sources like cheese, meat, etc., you have to eat a lot more volume of food, as I've mentioned. It's one of the keys is not to eat the same volume that you used to. You switch over to eating more fruits and vegetables, you've got to eat a much, much larger volume, because fruits and vegetables are much, much lower in calories for each gram, for each pound, etc., just volume-wise. So I got over that real quickly because I just needed enough fuel, and I'm not into starving myself ever at all, right? But the thing that took me longer to get over was just the variety aspect. When you first go vegan, or for a while, you might desire like foods you used to have, like I don't know, it's like hard to even think of, like hamburgers or something. You might find yourself cooking like big portobello mushrooms is like a hamburger substitute, putting it in a nice bun and creating. But as the longer you stay vegan, the more simple your food preference seems to become. At least that's been the case for me. And especially if you do lots of fruit, you get really, really simple. And now the mono meal, it just works so beautifully. I am so satisfied by it. So give it a shot if you want. It's also part of the cheapness of this. Like, I'll sit down and eat 6 to 10 bananas, like I said, and it's just such a cheap meal, and for me very, very satisfying. If I want to, I'll add some sugar to my fruit to make it taste better, if I want it, of course, or if I want more calories or something like that. All right, now the other thing that I just mentioned really briefly was the idea of food combining. And my understanding is that there are more complex rules of food combining. But the one I want to mention right now that's really just the most basic aspect is that you've got fruit on one side, and then you've got starches, bread, pasta, cooked food, etc. on the other side. There's a bit of a limbo too, like our baked sweet potatoes are kind of like not exactly as heavy as bread and pasta and that kind of stuff, but not as light as fresh fruit either. And the most important thing is to be, and it doesn't matter. If you go vegan and eat lots of vegan food, you're gonna make this mistake. And I still do. I like intentionally make this mistake sometimes. But the idea is not to construct a scientific experiment in your gut. And what I mean by that is just if you eat a bunch of fruit and then you eat like pasta or bread on top of it, that really won't cause a big problem because your body will digest the fruit, generally speaking, and get to the heavier stuff after. But if you do the opposite, if you have a huge amount of pasta and then within a couple of minutes or half an hour or something, you eat a huge amount of fruit on top of that, your body will take longer to digest all of those heavier foods. And you'll have kind of I don't think it's literally fermenting, but you'll have kind of like a fruit fermentation thing going on that creates a lot of discomfort for people. And a lot of the digestive problems that people report about veganism have to do with food combining. And really, that's just the very basic aspect of it that I wanted to mention is just don't put a bunch of fruit on top of a bunch of bread or pasta or something, cooked food. It can, it can just be uncomfortable. And a lot of people think that veganism doesn't work for them or that can't handle it or something because of that. Another thing is that, you start talking about things like this and more ideas pop up, things that I want to share. And one of those things is that it just came to mind right now is the fact that we don't have to. You could just go from a standard American diet straight into raw veganism, just cold turkey and whatever. But it's going to cause some digestive discomfort for you because the bacteria, the friendly, good bacteria that are inside your, microbiome. So all of the bacteria inside your stomach and your small intestine and so on and so forth proliferate, or their identity is based on what you eat regularly. So you have to be, it's better to gently introduce lots of vegetables and lots of fruit into your diet so that you will when you start eating fruits and vegetables, the bacteria that digests those kinds of raw material, like all of the fiber and so on and so forth, they become more numerous. And if you eliminate meat and cheese from your diet, then the bacteria that digest that sort of stuff will slowly minimize. And you need more of that like fiber, fruit, vegetable digesting bacteria to eat a huge monomeal of like I could eat just pounds of spinach or something like that. Well, if my brother just had pounds of spinach, it would really, really hurt his stomach. Or I can eat 12 oranges, 15 oranges, whatever, no problem, digest amazingly. So you have to be a little bit aware of that as well. Anyway, that's all I wanted to share today, and I hope you're having a great day. I'll see you guys soon. Enjoy.